Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you at the end of the video here to break down Game 6 of the NBA Finals, the showdown slate between the Bucks and the Suns. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. Also making videos for PGA Daily Fantasy Sports and NBA Top Shot. Just uploaded a video for NBA Top Shot of the 5 up-and-coming young players that you need to own on Top Shot. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check that one out. If you are unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. If you could leave a 5-star rating and review, that would help me out a ton, guys. Every single rating and review just boosts me up in those Apple Podcast rankings. If you are interested in signing up for premium content, I offer that on patreon.com. Esports package, it includes Call of Duty and CSGO, as well as an NBA package, and I am going to offer an NFL package once we get there. Again, season coming soon, preseason, I think like 3 weeks away, regular season a little over a month away for NFL. And I do want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring this episode. So if it's your first time watching my content or you're not familiar with Prize Picks, there are 2 different ways you can play for NBA. The first way is you just take straight up over-under on fantasy points. So Prize Picks post players and their fantasy scores. Again, you either take the over or the under. For example, Chris Paul projected for 40.5 fantasy points. Again, you either take the over or the under on that. You can mix and match sports as well. So you can like take a couple from NBA. You can take a couple from MLB, esports. They have every single thing. They have TBT, the basketball tournament. I think the only site, fantasy that I see that's offering TBT content. And then you can also play single stats. So this is just where you take straight up over under on points, assists, rebounds, 3-pointers made, free throws made. So if you guys want to try it out inside, please go DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word, link down below. You will get a 100% match up to $100. You put $100 in, you will get a free $100 to play with. The reason I like Prize Picks so much is it's a nice change of pace from DraftKings because you are not playing against anyone, right? You're not playing against a ton of lineups. You're just playing against the house. So let's get into this video. Real quick, though, I want to go over my lineup here from Game 5. So Game 5, what a game, guys. That was, I think, the best game so far in the series. The series has been great. 3-2 Bucks now. Again, what happened, right? I was told by everyone on Twitter, this series is over after 2 games. Clearly not, right? So let's go over my lineup. Chris Paul in the captain with Giannis, Jrue Holiday, AYTON, Cam Johnson, and Torrey Craig. So once again, I went the 4-star approach, but I went with some a little bit cheaper in the captain, that being Chris Paul. He had a really solid bounce-back game, went for almost 70 in the captain. Giannis actually had a subpar game, only 52 fantasy points. He had a nice game, like 32, 9, and 6. Obviously, that alley-oop dunk to finish the game was just crazy. Jrue Holiday had a massive game, though. His ownership went from like 50% to 30% after that 4 of 20 shooting game. Again, ownership, I always talk about that. Recency bias, ownership usually drops. It did on Jrue Holiday, only 30%. Absolutely smashed 61 fantasy points, had the game clincher, steal, alley-oop. He was amazing in that game. DeAndre Ayton was also too cheap, went for 40 fantasy points. Then value, nothing crazy here. Cam Johnson, 11.5. Lost a few minutes. MIKAL Bridges picked up a couple extra minutes there, and then Torrey Craig was just a filler piece. So that was it for the look back. Had a solid day for myself. And then I got to give a shout out to Josh. I mean, just continuously having massive games. Once again, he had a takedown here. Turned about $600 into $20,000. So congrats, Josh. Again, he has been on fire. Also, going over a few other winners. We got takedowns basically every single slate. Max had a big win, first big takedown, incredibly stoked. Shout out myself. You're playing showdowns, finally 100% check out his content. So yeah, turned in this contest $8 into over $1,200. $3 or whatever into $450. We've had some big ones. Adam turned the $25 giveaway in from about $25 in total to almost $1,200. Drew, $80 total in this to over just about $1,300. So we've had big winners basically every single night so far in the NBA Finals, and hoping to keep it going here for Game 6, possible clinching game here for the Milwaukee Bucks. All right. I guess before we get into the player-by-player breakdown and take a look at the Vegas odds, I just want to give you guys a special shout-out for everyone coming in and checking out these videos, whether it be the DFS content, whether it be the Top Shot content, the PGA content. Thank you guys so much. If you can, leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos. And you know when I go live. Let's try to aim for 150 likes on this video. All right, so let's take a look at the Vegas odds here. We have Suns, we have Bucks. It's a 222 over under. The Bucks are 5-point favorites. Oh, one more thing too. Going to be doing a special stream tomorrow. Not a single live stream, not a solo live stream, not a dual live stream. We're going to be doing a trio live stream. Myself, Mike, Razdaz, DFS on Twitter, and bringing back Noah again. We're going to be doing a trio stream talking about Game 6, Draftkings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, all that good stuff. So make sure to check that out tomorrow, guys. All right, let's start off with the Phoenix Suns. And at the top, we have Devin Booker at 10.4K. Has played really well the last couple of games in losing efforts. 46 and then 55 fantasy points. He's had 42 and 40 real-life points. Now, what I'm a little bit concerned about here is the peripheral stats, right? They're still not there with Chris Paul in this lineup. 1 board, 2 assists. 4 boards, 3 assists. Also, what I saw, which is a little bit worrisome, is they moved Jrue Holiday, one of the best, if not the best defenders in the NBA, onto Devin Booker a lot last game, and that definitely affected him down the stretch. So if Jrue Holiday is going to be hassling Devin Booker, that makes me a little bit more. I mean, it's not a huge, I'm not going to fade Devin Booker because of it, but I do think it's a slight downgrade if they're going to have Jrue Holiday and Devin Booker for most of the game. So with Devin Booker at 10.4K, again, if he does have a bad shooting game, the floor is there. We saw 20 fantasy points from him 3 games ago, so it is possible, and you're still going to have to pay a premium. Now, if the Suns want a shot to win this game and bring it back to Game 7, I think you're going to have to see a big game from Devin Booker. He's going to be super aggressive on the offensive end. Might even play the whole game. I don't know if he comes out in this game. So Devin Booker I like, but I think more of a contrarian play at that price. Once again, I'm going to prefer Chris Paul for the discount. $1,400 cheaper. And a guy that can do a lot more of the peripherals. 11 assists. He's a guy that will get you close to double-digit assists every game, can rebound the ball, and can obviously score the ball. Had 21 real-life points, went for 44 fantasy points. He has not played his best series. He definitely hasn't. He's been turning the ball. He did better with the turnovers last game, but previous games, 5, 4, 6 turnovers. So, again, if the Suns want a chance to bring this back to 7, you're going to need pretty big games out of both these guards in Booker and Paul. For me, once again, I'm going to prefer Chris Paul to Devin Booker. And DeAndre Ayton, I sound like a broken record, but he is still too cheap at this price point. It only went up $200. He played 45 minutes. Again, might play the entire game here or sit out for a minute or two. A great rebounder. Only had 10 rebounds last game. I think if that goes up, so probably get you close to double-double. Going to play almost the entire game, can block some shots. The only thing you have to be slightly concerned about is foul trouble. We saw him get in severe foul trouble 3 games ago. He had 4 fouls last game, so that is a slight risk with DeAndre Ayton. But if he can stay out of foul trouble, I think he's too cheap again. Now we get to the wings. So Crowder, Bridges, the minutes have gone up in both of them. Last game, Crowder played 40 minutes. Started off really strong, but then kind of cooled off. Again, they're the number 4, number 5 in offense. But the thing is, we're no longer getting 30-ish minutes out of Jay Crowder. We're going to get about 40 minutes. So Crowder's a guy that can kind of do it all, can score the ball, is a good defender, can get some blocks and steals. They'll use him at Giannis at times. Can rebound the ball as well. We've seen 10, 6, 8, and 5 rebounds the last 4 games. So I'm actually okay with Jay Crowder in the mid-range. I would wish he was a little bit cheaper. 7.4 is not very cheap, but I think he's in play because the minutes have gone way up. And MIKAL Bridges went from under 30 minutes the previous 2 games to about 33 minutes. I personally don't love this price. I think he's a little bit overpriced. But if he's going to play over 30 minutes, he's at least playable. Again, though, I'm not. He's someone that is definitely a contrarian play for me. All right, let's talk about Cam Johnson, who was very, very popular last slate. Had a kind of below average game, only 11.5 fantasy points. Now, the somewhat concerning thing is we saw the mids drop a little bit. We saw about 30 previous 2 games, only 22 that most recent one. So if he's only going to get about 20 minutes, he becomes a little bit riskier. Now, Cam Johnson still is a good scorer. Obviously, is a good shooter. We've seen him knock down a lot of threes. At 4.4K, I think he's a fair value play. But if he's only going to play 20 to 22 minutes, he becomes a little bit riskier. Now, if he bounces back and goes if he plays for close to 30 minutes, then I would like him a lot more. I think they're going to kind of go the hot hand with him and Bridges. So, whoever's playing better, I think, will be in that closing lineup. If I had to guess, it probably would be Bridges. He's a slightly better defender. But that's my thoughts with the Phoenix Wings. Campaign at 4K, so I think it's, around 15 minutes, played 15 minutes last game. He can, they can run 3 guard lineups, I guess, with him, Paul, and Booker. They're not going to do that a ton. If one of those guys get in foul trouble, obviously he'll play a little bit more. So with Campaign, again, a decent offensive player, decent point per minute guy, but don't expect huge minutes unless something weird happens. So with Campaign, I think he's more of a GPP play for me, but we saw it, right? He can still, he was in the winning lineup, I believe, last slate. He had 21 fantasy points in 15 minutes, so it's possible, but again, he's going to have one of those ceiling games in limited minutes. And then finally, Torrey Craig. So minutes went down a little bit on him, went from 15 to 9 minutes. I mean, I expect him to play, but don't expect a ton of minutes. I think 10 to 15 minutes is a pretty fair guess. Again, a decent defender, but, unless something weird happens or foul trouble, I wouldn't think he plays a ton. So Craig, you can play him for salary relief, but don't expect a ton of minutes. Don't expect a ton of production. And that's really it. Nader, Kaminsky, DNPs last game. So let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks. And at the top, Giannis had to come about 12.8K. So that was the first time, I believe, all series where he was not in the winning lineup. He just had a, subpar fantasy point game, only 52 fantasy points. I do think that goes up here in Game 6. Now, I have said that if you are going to go that super risky fade of fade Giannis, you play Jrue and Middleton. And that worked out, right? If you faded Giannis, Middleton, Jrue Holiday both had really, really good games. Now, I expect Giannis to come out a little bit more aggressive, on the offensive end this game. I expect him to play over 40 minutes. We know he's a great point per minute guy. I think most likely he's going to be in the winning lineup. Now, ownership-wise, he was about 90% last slate. I expect that to be the same, maybe a little bit lower since he wasn't in the winning lineup. Maybe we only get about 85% Giannis, but still, I think he is my preferred spend up on this slate. Now, Middleton and Jrue Holiday, they're both up and down, but we saw 58 and 44 fantasy points from Middleton previous 2 games, and Jrue Holiday, the struggling shooting game, 420, still almost put up 40 fantasy points. And I said, hey, if he has a decent shooting game, we could see a big, big game from Jrue. And he had a decent shooting game, and we saw a big, big game from Jrue, 61 fantasy points. So both these guys have been up and down a little bit in the playoffs, but the minutes have been there, right? 43, 44 minutes from Middleton. Jrue Holiday, 43, 42. Again, a great defender. They're going to use him a lot on Booker, I feel like, for Game 6. So I have interest in both these Milwaukee Bucks guys. I think the upside, we've seen more upside games from Middleton when Giannis is in the lineup than Jrue Holiday, even though, again, Jrue had the big game last game. Now, ownership, since Jrue had the big game last game, he might be a little more popular than Middleton. So maybe I have a small lean to Middleton over Jrue, but it's really, really close with the number 2 and number 3 here on the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, Brook Lopez has basically been a cross-out for me the last 3 or 4 games, but the positive thing here is he played 29 minutes last game. Now, I think that was partly due to PJ Tucker foul trouble, but, if there's a chance that he could play close to 30 minutes, I think he's at least in play. Again, though, I think he saw extra minutes because Tucker was in foul trouble, so more often than not, I think he hovers in this 20-minute range, which at this price point, it's still hard to get. Now, could he have 25 fantasy points in 22 minutes? Sure. He's a decent point per guy. Obviously can knock down some threes, but same thing I'll say about Campaign. Right now, more of a contrarian GPP only play for me. Now, Pat Connaughton's a guy I've been playing almost every single game so far this series. He's just going to be in the closing lineup, but he's going to play big minutes. Should play over 30 minutes. We've seen 34, 30, 32, 33. He'll be the number 4 on offense in that closing lineup. Tucker should be will be in the closing lineup as long as no foul trouble. He'll be the number 5. So, yeah, Connaughton obviously can knock down some threes. He shot 4-6 last game, can get some peripheral stats. A decent rebounder for a guy of his size. So, I think Connaughton is obviously a solid play, but the price has come up now, right? He was sub 4K 3 games ago. Now he's 5,200. So, it's a little bit more difficult to get Pat Connaughton into your lineup. Now, Bobby Portis intrigues me here at 5K. Because the minutes have been there, 18, 20, and 19. He's basically playing the same minutes as Brook Lopez. So if we get around 20 minutes from Bobby Portis in this game, I think he's someone that I do have some interest in. Again, a good point per minute guy. He's kind of been subpar last couple games, 13, 17 fantasy points. But don't be surprised if he comes out and puts up 28 fantasy points in 20 minutes. Again, an energy guy, a good offensive player. And if the minutes are going to be there for Portis, I do have some interest in him. Now, Tucker, again, he's been in foul trouble almost every single game. Last 3 games, 5 fouls. Minutes went down because of foul trouble last game. I think he plays over 30 minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble. A decent defender, obviously not great in the offensive end, but I think it is a safer value play because the minutes will be there as long as there's no foul trouble. And last guy to talk about here is Jeff Teague at 2K. So, kind of like Torrey Craig, I think gets around 10 minutes or so. Obviously not a great point per minute guy, but most likely will be on the court for a little bit. So, if you want to use him as a dart throw, you can. But other than that, again, Forbes, DNP, last 2 games, Thanasis missed the last game. I'm not sure if he's going to be available for this game, but Yeah, there's really not much for either team here. Both teams ran very tight rotations. I expect that again for Game 6 tomorrow. But that is going to do it for the video today, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos. And you know when I go live, again, trio live stream with Mike, Razdaz, and Noah tomorrow. Make sure to check it out, guys. We're going to be talking DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, all that good stuff. Thanks again. Have a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow in the live stream.